Are you tired of going to the doctor and feeling like they're only addressing your symptoms,
Yeah,
not really getting down to what's actually going on?
right.
Well, today we are going to be talking about functional medicine and holistic health, which aim to actually get to the root cause of those health issues.
Yeah.
And with us to help us go through this deep dive, we have Emma, who is a holistic health coach and functional medicine practitioner. I'm really excited to hear your perspective on all of this.
Well, thanks so much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
So, for anyone listening who may not know, what exactly is functional medicine?
So you can think of functional medicine kind of like a detective approach to health. So instead of just kind of putting a Band-Aid on the symptoms that you might be experiencing, we really try to get down to the underlying causes of disease.
Oh, okay.
And we do that by, looking at your genetics, your environment, your lifestyle, and kind of piecing together the puzzle of your health.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. But how does that differ from traditional medicine? Because I feel like my doctor does ask about my lifestyle sometimes.
Yeah, so I think the key difference is that functional medicine really emphasizes a personalized approach. Traditional medicine often relies on a one-size-fits-all model.
Yeah.
So, if you have a certain diagnosis, they're going to use the same treatments for everyone with that diagnosis. But in functional medicine, we recognize that everyone is completely unique.
Right.
And we believe in treating the individual, not just the disease.
I see. So it's more about getting a whole picture and understanding the person rather than just looking at symptoms.
Exactly. You can't separate physical health from emotional health, mental health, and even spiritual well-being. It's all interconnected.
So for example, let's say someone comes to you and they're complaining of chronic fatigue. How would you approach that from a functional medicine perspective?
Oh, that's a great example. A traditional doctor might just prescribe medication to boost energy levels.
Hmm.
But as a functional medicine practitioner, we would dig a lot deeper. We would look at things like diet, stress levels, sleep patterns, hormone levels, even gut health. You might be surprised to learn that studies have shown a direct link between gut bacteria and fatigue.
Wow, I did not know that about the gut bacteria, but I can definitely see how all those things could contribute. So you're really looking at the whole person.
That's exactly it. We want to understand all the pieces of the puzzle.
So how does holistic health fit into all this?
So the chronic fatigue example is a perfect illustration of that. Holistic health is all about recognizing the interconnectedness of the body. Functional medicine fits within this framework because it acknowledges that treating one area in isolation very rarely works.
Okay, that's starting to make a lot more sense now. But I think some people who are maybe critical of functional medicine might say that it's not as scientifically rigorous as traditional medicine. So what would you say to those people?
That's a great question. While functional medicine is a newer field, it is absolutely grounded in science. We use the latest research to inform our practice, and we often utilize specialized tests that go beyond what's typically used in conventional medicine.
Oh, okay.
So, for example, we might look at food sensitivity tests, hormone panels, nutrient deficiency assessments. These tests can reveal underlying imbalances that might be contributing to your health concerns.
So it's not just based on like intuition or anecdotal evidence. You're actually using scientific data to inform your decisions.
Absolutely. We combine the best of both worlds, the scientific evidence and a personalized holistic approach.
Well, it's really fascinating. And I can see how that would appeal to people who are feeling like they're not getting the answers they need from traditional medicine. But it can feel a little overwhelming for someone who's just starting to learn about this. So where would you recommend that people begin?
One of the biggest misconceptions about functional medicine is that it requires like this huge, complete overhaul of your life, and that's just not true.
Well, that's good.
You can start by making small, manageable changes. For example, prioritizing sleep,
Mm.
managing your stress levels, incorporating more whole foods into your diet.
Yeah,
These things can make a really big difference.
that's great to hear because I know I personally used to struggle with digestive issues. And it wasn't until I started looking at like the bigger picture, my diet, my stress levels, my sleep, that I really started to see any improvement.
That's wonderful to hear.
So I can definitely attest to this.
That's a great example of how small changes can lead to big improvements.
Yeah. Okay. So let's unpack those everyday changes a bit more.
Sure.
In the next part of our deep dive, we'll be right back.
Welcome back to our deep dive. We were just talking about those everyday changes that can have a big impact on your health.
Right.
So let's dive into some of those specific things that people can start implementing right away.
Sure. So I think when we talk about lifestyle changes, people often think about these like huge dramatic overhauls.
Yeah. Strict diets, intense workouts, that sort of thing. But the truth is, you don't need to make these huge changes to see results.
Okay, so where should people start?
Well, one of the most fundamental aspects of well-being is sleep. And we so often underestimate how much sleep impacts literally every aspect of our health, from our energy levels to our immune function to our mood, our mental clarity, everything.
Right, and I've certainly felt the effects of not having a good night's sleep, but it's not just about the number of hours you get, right?
Right.
What else should we pay attention to?
Yeah, the quality of your sleep is just as important as the quantity.
Yeah.
So some things that can really help with that are creating a consistent sleep routine,
Hmm.
optimizing your sleep environment, making sure your room is dark, cool, and quiet, and managing stress levels throughout the day can really help enhance your sleep quality as well.
Yeah, those are all great tips. I know for me personally, like just avoiding caffeine in the afternoon and putting my phone away an hour before bed, that has made a huge difference in my sleep. What about exercise? I feel like that's something that always comes up in health conversations.
It does. And I think it's important to emphasize that movement doesn't have to be about these grueling workouts. It's about finding ways to incorporate more activity into your daily life. So taking the stairs instead of the elevator, walking or biking instead of driving, even just stretching regularly throughout the day, all those little things add up.
Yeah, I love that you're emphasizing the importance of finding what works for each person. You don't have to force yourself to do a workout that you hate.
Right.
It should be something you enjoy. What about managing stress? Because I think that's a big one for so many people.
Absolutely. Chronic stress can wreak havoc on your health. I mean, it really impacts everything from your sleep to your digestion to your immune system. So, finding healthy ways to manage stress is absolutely crucial.
Yeah. So what are some strategies that you would suggest to help people manage stress? I know things like mindfulness and meditation are often recommended.
Yeah, those are incredibly powerful and they don't have to be complicated. Even just taking a few minutes to practice deep breathing can make a huge difference. Spending time in nature, engaging in hobbies that you love, connecting with loved ones, these are all ways to really nourish your soul and combat stress. And don't underestimate the power of laughter.
Yes. Sometimes we forget to have fun. Okay, one more topic I want to touch on before we wrap up this section is supplements.
Mhm.
It seems like there are so many out there these days, and it can be really confusing to know where to begin.
Yeah, it's true. The supplement market can definitely feel overwhelming.
Yeah.
And it's important to remember that supplements aren't a quick fix or a replacement for a healthy lifestyle. They're really meant to complement a balanced diet and address any specific deficiencies you might have.
Okay. So you're not saying to just go to the health food store and buy whatever you see.
Definitely not. Supplements should be approached thoughtfully and strategically, ideally with the guidance of a qualified healthcare professional. They can help you determine which supplements are right for you, if any.
Yeah, that's so important, working with someone who can really guide you through all of that.
Absolutely.
Well, this has been so informative. I feel like I've learned a lot, even just practical things that I can start using right away.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
And we have even more to talk about in the next segment.
Okay.
We'll be discussing resources and strategies for those who want to dive even deeper into this whole world.
Yes.
So stay tuned.
Yes.
Welcome back to our deep dive. We've been talking all about functional medicine and holistic health.
Yes.
And I want to make sure our listeners have some good takeaways so they can actually start using some of this stuff.
Right.
So where do you suggest people begin their functional or holistic health journey?
I think the most important thing is just to start paying attention to your body. It's constantly sending you signals about what it needs, but we often just get so busy and we tune them out.
Yeah, I know I do that all the time. But how do you actually start listening to those signals?
So, just start by noticing how you feel after you eat certain foods. Do you feel energized? Do you feel sluggish? Pay attention to how your energy levels fluctuate throughout the day. Are there certain times where you feel more focused, more drained? And be really mindful of how stress is showing up in your body. Do you get headaches, stomach aches, muscle tension? These are all clues that your body is trying to communicate with you.
So it's kind of like being a detective of your own health.
Exactly. And if you're feeling overwhelmed or unsure of where to start, don't hesitate to reach out to a qualified practitioner.
Right.
Functional medicine practitioners, holistic health coaches, we are trained to help you understand your body's unique needs and develop a personalized plan for you.
Yeah, it's like having a personal health guide.
Yeah.
So are there any resources that you recommend for people to be able to find qualified professionals in this field?
Yeah, absolutely. The Institute for Functional Medicine has a great directory of practitioners on their website.
Okay.
You can also look for, holistic health coaches in your area.
Awesome. So we talked about listening to our bodies, seeking professional guidance. We talked about making those everyday changes. Is there anything else that you would recommend people keep in mind when they're on this journey?
I think it's really important to remember that healing is a process, not a destination.
Right.
It's about progress, not perfection. So be patient with yourself. Celebrate those small victories. Don't be afraid to experiment to find what works best for you. And remember that you don't have to do it alone. Connect with others who are on a similar path that can provide support, inspiration, and accountability.
This has been so great. I feel like we've just scratched the surface,
Yeah.
but I hope everyone listening feels a little bit more equipped to start exploring this world of functional medicine and holistic health. And maybe you'll find that tuning into your body's wisdom is the key that you've been searching for all along. Thanks so much for listening.